In the old world, men feared the dark not because of beasts or bandits, but because of her. The ancients spoke of a spirit, a succubus, who visited men in their sleep, pressed her body to their chest, and whispered promises of pleasure while draining their very essence. They said she was beautiful beyond measure, soft as silk and cold as the grave. She didn't steal your gold, she stole your will. You'd wake up weaker, slower, less alive, until one day you didn't wake up at all. That was mythology. But what most men don't understand is that mythology never dies. It only evolves. The succubus doesn't need to appear in your dreams anymore. She lives in your feed. She wears designer lashes, filters that bend light itself, and captions that make your lower self feel wanted. You call it attraction. She calls it harvest season. She doesn't want your love. She wants your energy, the seed that carries your vitality, your creative force, your focus. Every time you lust without purpose, she feeds. Every time you scroll through her world and imagine yourself in it, you feed her kingdom. Because her currency isn't affection, it's attention. She knows men were built to protect, to build, to conquer. So instead of fighting your strength, she seduces it. She lures your inner warrior into the illusion of comfort, into the soft trap of indulgence. The modern succubus doesn't need horns or wings anymore. Her tools are subtle. Thirst traps, validation games, emotional manipulation masked as vulnerability. You'll think you're being chosen when really you're being used. Understand this. Women like that don't crave connection. They crave consumption. They crave the energy that comes from being desired, from knowing that a man somewhere is losing sleep over her. She collects souls like trophies, not through witchcraft, but through dopamine. You become her battery, her fuel source. The more men she drains, the brighter her ego burns. The weaker you become, the more her illusion grows. It's an exchange the modern world romanticizes, but there's nothing romantic about addiction, and that's what it is, spiritual addiction. She gives you just enough validation to keep you hooked, then pulls it away to watch you chase it again. Most men won't see this until it's too late. They'll think it's love, they'll call it chemistry, they'll say, she's different. But the succubus doesn't need to love you. She only needs you to want her. That want alone is enough to drain you. And the cruel irony is, the weaker you become, the more dependent you feel on her presence. You'll start to lose your ambition. The gym sessions get skipped. The goals get delayed. You'll justify it in the name of love. But deep down, your spirit knows you're being bled. Your energy doesn't just vanish. It's transferred. What was once the fire that built empires becomes the smoke of obsession. In this era, the battlefield isn't physical, it's psychological. The war isn't fought with swords, but with screens. And the succubus doesn't need to enter your home. You invited her in the moment you started craving what didn't serve you. You think you're playing the game, but the game is playing you. You're not pursuing women anymore, you're pursuing pleasure. And pleasure without purpose is the poison that kills masculine greatness. Every man who falls for her charm loses a piece of his mission. Because your seed, your life force, isn't just biological, it's spiritual. It's the divine energy that fuels your focus, your creativity, your drive. When you give it to a woman who isn't aligned with your vision, it doesn't multiply, it evaporates. You were never meant to be a slave to your desires, you were meant to master them. The succubus feeds on those who forget their purpose, who trade discipline for dopamine, who chase comfort instead of conquest. And that's the tragedy of modern men. They confuse surrender with connection. They confuse validation with value. They think love is something to be found in the flesh, when in truth, love is something to be built through legacy. So I'll tell you this: guard your energy like a king guards his crown. Your attention is sacred. Your seed is power. Every ounce of it has the potential to build a life that outlives you, but only if it's protected from those who would waste it. You can't save every woman from her own emptiness. Some are designed to drain. Your task is not to change her nature, but to master yours. Because when you control your lust, you control your life. And when you control your seed, you control your destiny. In the alchemy of lust, you'll be taken deep into the ancient and forgotten discipline of sexual transmutation, a principle once reserved for monks, warriors, kings, and creators. The battlefield of man is no longer marked by swords or shields. It's the quiet war waged between your instincts and your purpose. This war is invisible, but every man feels it. It's the pull between discipline and indulgence, between creation and consumption. And at the center of that war stands the succubus, not as a monster with claws, but as a woman who has mastered the art of extraction. She knows your weakness isn't her body. It's your lack of control over your own energy. You think you're pursuing pleasure, but she's pursuing power. And the moment you release that seed without intention, you've paid her in the most valuable currency a man possesses: your vital essence. Your seed is not just fluid, it's the concentration of your focus, your drive, your creativity. It's the spark that built civilizations and empires. It's what makes you wake up before dawn to chase legacy instead of lust. When you spill it without discipline, you trade empire for emptiness. The succubus doesn't need to ask for your money, your loyalty, or your time. She knows that once she has your energy, she owns all three. She understands something most men don't. Once you've been emptied, your hunger becomes her leash. She can lead you anywhere she wants, back into her arms, back into her trap, back into your own weakness. You see, she studies men like a hunter studies prey. She recognizes the signs, the restless energy, the wandering eyes, the need to feel wanted. She mirrors your fantasy until you mistake her for your destiny. She'll talk about peace while feeding chaos, talk about loyalty while entertaining other options, talk about love while harvesting your validation. She knows that once you fall for the illusion, you'll build her throne with your own hands. And when she's done using you, she'll move on, leaving you wondering what you did wrong. But you didn't do anything wrong. You just didn't know the rules of the game. You thought you were loving her, but you were fueling her. Modern men underestimate the exchange. They see sex as recreation, not realization. But every exchange of energy is spiritual, whether you believe it or not. You don't just give her your body, you give her your clarity, your ambition, your fire. That's why after lustful nights with women who don't feed your soul, you wake up feeling hollow, uninspired, even guilty. It's because something in you knows you've been drained. That's not guilt. That's your inner masculine screaming for balance. The succubus thrives on imbalance. She wants you restless, overthinking, and distracted. The more you chase her, the less you chase your mission. The more you seek her warmth, the colder your purpose becomes. You must understand that the succubus operates through frequency. Her weapon is temptation. Her target is attention. Her victory is addiction. Every man she captures becomes another brick in her ego fortress, built not on love, but on souls too weak to resist her. She doesn't need to destroy you violently. She weakens you slowly, through repetition, through familiarity, through pleasure. She drains you until you no longer remember what it feels like to be sharp, dangerous, and decisive. That's how warriors fall in modern times, not from battle wounds, but from bed sheets. The only way to win this war is through mastery. Mastery of your seed, your focus, and your desires. Semen retention isn't about abstinence. It's about command. It's the rebellion against distraction. It's the choice to channel your lust into progress, your desire into discipline, your passion into purpose. Every time you deny the succubus, you sharpen your sword. Every time you choose your mission over your urges, you reclaim power. You begin to radiate a different kind of energy, not thirsty, but charged. Women sense it. The world feels it. You stop chasing and start attracting. Because a man who can control his own lust becomes a man nothing and no one can manipulate. What she calls love, you must redefine as strategy. What she calls chemistry, you must filter through discernment. You're not being cold, you're being conscious. You're guarding the temple of your spirit. Because make no mistake, this war is spiritual. It's not about denying pleasure. It's about refusing enslavement. The succubus feeds on men who worship the wrong god, the god of lust. But when you bow only to your mission, she loses her power over you. You starve her with your discipline. You break her illusion with your silence. And that's when she fears you, not when you chase, but when you no longer need. You're not lazy, you're hijacked. Every scroll designed to keep you docile, addicted, and distracted. Dopamine warfare, reclaiming the mind. This isn't just about quitting porn or deleting apps. This is about taking back command of your nervous system, your focus, your fire. The final battle isn't fought between man and woman. It's fought within the man himself. The true succubus isn't always outside of you. Sometimes she's the voice in your mind that whispers, "Just this once." She's the impulse that tells you discipline can wait, that your purpose can rest, that your mission can pause for a moment of comfort. Every man has that inner seductress, the part of him that craves the sweetness of pleasure over the sting of progress. That's the real demon, not the woman who tempts you, but the weakness that welcomes her. The succubus within is the shadow of every undisciplined man, feeding on his excuses, draining his time, and killing him softly through self-indulgence. You've seen it. You've felt it. That slow fade after the climax, that emptiness after indulgence. It's not just physical fatigue. It's spiritual withdrawal. It's the cost of leaking purpose through moments of pleasure that didn't serve your higher calling. You can chase 1,000 bodies and still feel hollow because you were never meant to find yourself in another's flesh. You were meant to forge yourself through restraint. Every man who's ever risen to greatness had to conquer this silent war within. Caesar didn't build Rome by chasing lust. Alexander didn't march across continents to impress women. They learned early that indulgence is the graveyard of ambition. What separates the kings from the slaves is not strength of body, but strength of will. To kill the succubus within, you must learn the art of transmutation, taking the same desire that once controlled you and turning it into fuel. That energy is raw creation. The same fire that drives you toward lust can be redirected to build businesses, sharpen your mind, sculpt your body, and expand your empire. It's the same force, only the disciplined know how to steer it. When you hold your seed, you're not repressing your nature, you're refining it. You're taking the chaos of desire and converting it into dominance. That's why the disciplined man feels dangerous, because he's full of power and he's learned how to aim it. And something happens when you rise to that level of control. The world starts to bend differently around you. Your eyes sharpen. Your presence deepens. You stop craving attention because your aura commands it. You stop seeking validation because your confidence radiates it. You move differently, speak slower, breathe deeper. People can't explain it, they just feel it. That's the aura of a man who's mastered his inner succubus. He's no longer drained by desire, he's defined by it. It's the fire behind his purpose, not the chain around his neck. But here's the truth most won't face. This process isn't pretty. It's not glamorous. Killing the succubus within feels like killing a part of yourself. You'll feel withdrawal from the chaos that once gave you identity. You'll miss the thrill, the rush, the easy warmth. But what you gain in its place is priceless. Clarity, dominance, peace. You'll look around and see men trapped in cycles of lust, chasing the same illusions you once bowed to. And you'll feel nothing but quiet gratitude for your own awakening. Because you'll realize they're not chasing women, they're running from themselves. And when you stop running, you start ruling. You become the architect of your own reality. You'll attract women who reflect your discipline instead of your weakness. They'll align with your vision, not your void. You'll stop confusing lust for love, and you'll start recognizing that true intimacy only exists between purpose and presence. The man who controls his lust becomes magnetic, not because he denies pleasure, but because he embodies mastery. He radiates a rare kind of energy, calm, dangerous, untouchable. That's when you're no longer prey to the succubus, internal or external. You've ascended from victim to vessel, a man who creates life through direction, not depletion. So understand this, Crusader. The succubus dies the moment you stop feeding her. She withers when your purpose burns hotter than your lust. She vanishes when you stop needing and start building. This is not about hating women. It's about elevating yourself. The succubus exists only where weak men give her permission. When you master your seed, you become a god in your own domain, unshakable, unmoved, untempted. You stop chasing the temporary and start constructing the eternal. That's the true legacy of masculine control. So let this be your creed. Guard your energy, sharpen your mind, and remember, your seed is sacred. Every drop of it should be invested in your mission, your empire, your lineage. Not in moments of weakness, but in acts of creation. Because in a world that worships lust, the man who masters it becomes divine. Thus remember, we are Indecepta. Becoming Indecepta is the code they never wanted you to learn. A psychological war map for men, forbidden teachings fused with modern strategy for influence, dominance, and self-mastery. If you want peace, prepare for war.